from somewhere. Investment is a seed. And the thing is, people are hanging out for a harvest they never planted a seed for. Well, you were talking about investing. How you look at something, you look at the investment, and it's gonna cost 770, like you were talking. 777, but you don't have 777. Because if you took, you do, but if you took it, then a bill's gonna suffer. One of the bills you gotta pay is gonna suffer. So Robert Kiyosaki, in his early years, he used this statement, and at the time I thought I understood it. He said, there are two types of people. One that looks at an item and go, oh, I can't afford it. And then the other person that looks at the same item and goes, how can I afford it? So the mindset shift is, how can I afford it? And I'm like, oh yeah, I think I know that. No, but I didn't really know that, because he didn't go further to explain that. To me, from my perspective, he didn't go further to explain that part, that mindset of how can I afford it? Because if I go, how can I afford it? Then what's the journey towards affording it? That part. And I think many people are caught up there because they look at an opportunity, go, oh, I don't have that money. It's going to cost me $1,000. Yeah, but if you save $1,000 over 3 fortnights or 4 fortnights or 5 fortnights, and it might take you that long, but you are in it for the long run, you see, because there's people who are going to go 10 years later, they're still repeating the same cycle, whereas there are individuals who realize the truth that, no, I'm planting a seed. And I was talking to you about the book, The Compound Effect. That compound effect. And in the story, he uses an example of two people who are overweight. And initially, the guy, the first week, he's doing all this training, but he doesn't, when you look at him, there's not really any signs. But he started the process, you see. He started the process. So a few months down the line, okay, you can start to see a little bit more. About 9 months later, there's a big difference between him and the other guy, because he compounded, or he became consistent in coming to that result. So the same way with investment, 777 looks like a big number. Sure, it is, because you can't take your money from your rent and put it to the thing and go, aha, it's gonna work. And then the landlord calls you up and go, you're behind rent because you owe me this amount of money. Oh yeah, but I was trying to run a business. Doesn't work that way, There's no leniency, this is a real world. So you gotta manage the bill. But there's that mindset of people who say, oh, you gotta pay the bill's priority. The same people 10 years later are still doing the same thing. But you gotta work towards that objective. And how it came to me as I was thinking about it recently was success or wealth or abundance, any of the above three, success, wealth, or abundance equals investment. And as soon as I say investment, people go straight to, oh, investing money. Yeah, that's just the tool we use. It's just one of those tools. It's probably the main tool. The question is, what are you investing for? For what result are you wanting to achieve, you see? So if it's for losing weight, what's my investment? Oh, I gotta cut back on the sugar. That means investment then becomes discipline. A process in your mind where you go, certain things are taking away from my investment. They are robbing me of the opportunity to have my chance at that opportunity. Because opportunity doesn't come to you until you prepare for it. Opportunity is drawn to preparation. It's drawn to your positioning, your aligning. And that alignment, of course, is what you did to come to that outcome, because you went, oh yeah, 774 weeks, 4 fortnights later, you got the 777, right? And you go, oh, I can do it now. But had you not had that intention, you didn't become intentional about your investment. You asked the question, how can I afford it? Then you went on a planned strategy. See, investment is a strategy. Most people think, oh yeah, invest, I'll just jump in and then I'll make all this money. That's the whole thing in a nutshell. But the whole process getting there is a strategy, is a journey. And anyone who wants to think investment must think of a tree that starts off from a plant, from a seed, and it then sprouts. A plant, starts from somewhere. Investment is a seed. And the thing is, people are hanging out for a harvest they never planted a seed for. They're hanging out for a harvest they never made an opportunity, they never positioned for. Jesus was teaching about the Matthew 7:7 principle. Wisdom is principle. Understanding is what Solomon said for us to get. Wisdom is the principle, understanding is the thing that we must get. There's another passage in Proverbs where Solomon quotes and says, wisdom is the thing that builds the house, but understanding is the thing that lays the foundation. You see? So it's like, okay, that's the principle, but if I don't have understanding of it, I'll have no idea of how to apply it. Because understanding is the thing that honors that principle, translates it into application, right? And into a working application. Understanding takes that and go, oh, I know how to do that process now because someone showed me how to do it. I took the time to honor the principle of process. And the principle of planting a seed. My time becomes an investment. My time now becomes intentional, and it's not spent on just watching social media all day, and I'm like, oh, geez, I'm not getting anywhere with life. I wonder why I'm not getting anywhere with my life. Maybe a better use of time might become the answer there. Just hint, But that's some people thinking, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not using my time enough. I think, the famous saying that John C. Maxwell always quotes. He quotes from another person, but he says that if you do something long enough, 4 or 5 years, you become an expert at it. You become very good at it. And I think if you're pursuing down a path where you want to come to that result, you become intentional about that pursuit. You then zero your pursuits into one area. And you're going, okay, this is my investment. Why did I come into that investment? Because this is the result I want. And some people jump into their investment with no idea at all. There's no research involved. There's no knowledge gained. They just like, oh yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah, investment, yeah, it's a principle. No, wisdom is the principle. Understanding is the thing that makes use of that principle. And if I don't understand how to get to that outcome, I'm just jumping in. Someone might have the guts to do skydiving, never do any training, and he goes parachuting and he's like, woo, all the way down, right? And he's an expert at it. Another guy might have the same enthusiasm, goes and stands there and like, oh, I don't need to train him. I got the same energy level as this brother. And then you don't need to teach me. My energy level is the same as that. Yeah, we know that your energy level is the same, but that doesn't mean you can parachute with him. You can jump off and know that you're going to hit the ground safe, You have to learn what it took for that person to become a very successful whatever you call them. So in the same regard, people stepping into investments think, oh yeah, I have the same aptitude, or I think I have the capacity to handle it, or the acumen, and I'm stepping into it with